might say a lot, Nettie. But how this diary got through the last search, I really don't know. So perhaps it's best to generalize.
Singapore fell to the Japanese in February of 1942. It was a humiliating defeat for the British. They'd completely underestimated their enemy and had presumed that the harbor city would be attacked from the sea. Instead, the Japanese came from behind, overland, many on bicycles, down the Malaya Peninsula. In a hasty retreat, the British fled on to Singapore Island, leaving the water supply on the mainland undefended. Within days, the British were forced to give up the fight and sign an unconditional surrender. More than 120,000 British subjects were taken prisoner. Ben Wheeler, my father, was one of them.
It's hard to realize that the Japs have well and truly beaten us, and it has all been done so efficiently and quickly. Nobody seems to have the least idea what they will do with us all. I'm sure that they never expected or wanted so many.
They were shipped up the coast in old cattle boats. Dad was in one called the England Maru.
Wish I had a picture of this place. The nearest one can come to it is the picture one has of the old slave ships. 300 men in this hold. No place to attend the sick, let alone put them. Nothing could be worse than this voyage has been, Nettie. August 31st, 1944. I have plenty of headaches in the way of patients these days, especially one poor lad whose back was broken on the 11th. Complete paralysis from the breast down. Very little hope there will be any recovery. Most difficult nursing under these conditions. He has no control so far, or very little, over urine, and is constipated.
Anyway, the Major took in Doherty, and he made a bed.
It was more like a cradle, really,
yes,
wasn't it?
with sand. Now, the Major insisted that every day the sick patients that were able to move was to go in there and massage the legs of Doherty. And this went on for day after day after day. And after months, I was present the first day when Doherty's toe moved. And I could have cried. And you must feel that way too, because to see that toe just flicker and know that that man has got his nerves working again in his muscle, and you done, and the Major, and it was only through the Major insisting and giving us the strength to carry on massaging this man's leg that made this man live.
You saw him ride the bike they made up there?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a bike. It was half the style of a bike, but instead of having pedals that turned, they was two planks that paddled, like, see, and they had blocks of concrete on. And they got him on this bike, and he used to work his legs. And eventually, he walked around that little sick bay, didn't he? And we left the camp, we had to go to Japan, but they tell us that he actually walked out of the camp.
Yeah, he walked
unaided.
Two letters today from Nell with snaps. Both written just more than a year ago. But the snaps, honey, somehow have made me feel nearer than since all this began. You look lovely, dearest. as always, though they didn't get in your hat. You certainly all look well, and there can be little lack of food. What real boys they are. I only would have recognized Ken. Harry's changed a lot, all his baby softness gone. And, of course, Alan was only a baby. But I'm so proud. And who wouldn't be? We certainly will have our honeymoon, dear. You'll have to meet me when I land. Oh, yes, darling, how I love you and long for you. On October 19th, the NIP suddenly told me 100 sick men were to be sent off, and except to check them, gave me a free hand. They said if they could walk, they could be included. I took it literally and put down the worst 100 of at least 250 or 300 unfit. The men we sent, lined up to go, was one of the most heartbreaking sights I've ever seen. All like skeletons except for those swollen with edema. Few seeming with strength enough to be very excited about a new chance. Broken down, burned out humans. May we never forget it. Ever.
They had to, I remember, they had to put a whole hut aside for dysentery cases at that period, and your father was working day and night on trying to cope with the dysentery. And even the Japanese got scared. They sent a Captain Chumi from HQ to come to the camp. And I know all the result was we got more toilet paper provided. Is that another small thing that is, you see, that there wasn't even such a thing as toilet paper. And you imagine the problems with dysentery cases. Cases were beds. So the work that your dad and those medical orderlies had to do was indescribable.
I must leave my memories of the past few years behind, but I can honestly say that I do not harbor the hate and resentment I thought I would against the Japanese. Many have killed themselves rather than suffer the dishonor of being a prisoner of war. Such a different philosophy of life and death. I wonder what the boys will think of their dad after all this time. Surely they don't remember me, but we won't be strangers for long. I'm so anxious to be the father they've never had. I've thought a lot of what we shall do now. How lucky we are to have this second chance at life together. For we have each other, and what else really matters. I've tried to do the best by these men, Nettie. But in so many cases, it hasn't been enough. I'll be the last to leave this place. Men are still dying, and many aren't fit to travel. So I'll stay until the end. Perhaps I'll be home by November. I swear we will never be apart again. Give kisses to the boys, and to you, all my love. As ever, Ben.